So Shakira, you've been wanting a celebrity baby daddy so bad, and the one that you do get can't even go half on the bills with his wife? I haven't watched Love and Hip Hop in so long, y'all. I didn't even know he had all these babies. He has 5 of them, and 3 of them from Bambi. But now he done got Shakira pregnant, and you got her pregnant while you was having a... That's messed up for real. How you get pregnant during a threesome? That just means that nobody was wearing protection. And why would you not wear protection when you're having a threesome with just a random person? That's crazy to me.
With Shakira, Scrappy believed he was embarking on a fresh start. He made a sincere effort to present himself in a different way this time around after everything he had to endure with Bambi and Erica. He was playing it cool, saying all the right things, and even discussing the possibility of establishing a good co-parenting arrangement right away. He was clearly trying to show that he had matured. He had more on his mind than himself. He repeatedly emphasized that if you want to have a positive relationship with your child, you must respect the mother. Like when he asked Shakira, "How are you going to have a good relationship with your grandbaby and you don't get a good relationship with your mama?" It was a powerful line, particularly in light of the several occasions he observed his mother, Mama D, treat the mothers of his other children disrespectfully. Now, suddenly, he understands. He now realizes how crucial it is to maintain the child's serenity. It's crazy. This is where things become more tricky, though. You see, Scrappy had questions in his heart, and for good reason, even though he was attempting to act morally. He agreed with Shakira from the start, despite the fact that he was publicly claiming the baby. It required a DNA test. They both agreed to hold off till the baby wouldn't be too bothered by it. The stress surrounding it, however, never truly subsided. But let's go back a little before we go on to the event that altered everything, because nobody anticipated how messy this story would be.
Now, you don't understand that baby mama, baby daddy trying to get along, co-parent. That shit's tough.
It's tough. It's tough because you're 2 different people. You know what I'm saying? 2 different people with 2 different mindsets and thinking 2 different ways.
But what mess you up is the kid love both of y'all. So
that's the most beautiful thing, that the kid love both of y'all, and that's what's gonna always bring y'all to a common denominator.
Since Scrappy and Shakira didn't exactly get off to a solid start, let's now discuss how we ever got here. There was nothing serious about their situationship. According to rumors, it all started with a crazy night that was purportedly a threesome, but ended up being much more complicated than each of them had anticipated. Many lines were blurred that night, and everything changed when Shakira learned she was expecting a child. Shakira seems to develop an emotional bond really rapidly. Her demeanor around Scrappy was indicative of this. She didn't act as though this was merely a case of co-parenting. She was acting as though they had already entered into a committed relationship. In fairness, Scrappy was kind of amusing. He wasn't doing much to establish limits, whether that was on purpose or just him being too easygoing. He would appear when it mattered, say the appropriate things, and give the impression that he was interested in more than simply being a father. This is where things get complicated. Scrappy had his reservations. He was acting the part, making an effort to seem and be there. Genuine skepticism. And he kind of just went with the flow rather than being direct about things right away. He repeatedly asserted that he was certain the infant was his. In addition to telling Shakira and himself, he also informed everyone else that. But he consented to take a DNA test. There were too many loose ends in the case, not because he was acting shadily. Prevent any stress on the infant, they both agreed that it would be best to wait until after the baby was delivered. However, the strain persisted beneath the surface and was not eliminated by that decision. Additionally, it was evident that Scrappy wanted to be unique this time. He was genuinely attempting to demonstrate that he could manage things appropriately after all the drama involving Bambi and Erica. Just take over and be a father without any drama or back and forth. However, if the foundation is unstable, fractures will eventually show through no matter how hard you try to keep things cool.
For being here, shout out to my baby daddy.
Yay! Congratulations, Scrappy.
For being here, you know, we came all the way from Atlanta. You have a lot of things to do, a lot of different places, but they show you.
Yeah.
That's right. And I appreciate that.
Welcome to New York.
The actual tension began to rise at this time as Scrappy was attempting to play house, but the foundation was broken. Naturally, Mama D couldn't just let things unfold, so she stepped in. The energy changed the moment she entered the situation. Mama D has a history of getting involved in inappropriate situations, and this time was no exception. Loud, brazen, and already taking sides, she entered. She immediately went into attack mode, demonstrating that she wasn't feeling Shakira rather than attempting to establish a link for the sake of the child. If you have been following Scrappy's story, you are aware that is nothing new. Mama D treated Erica and Bambi in the same way. She has a habit of treating the women in her son's life disrespectfully, particularly the ones with whom he has children. Simply talks sideways, undermines them, and always manages to incite drama. She stirs things up when they should be quiet, and Scrappy typically overlooks it. He's out here now, however, repeating one of the very phrases that he used to ignore when others spoke it to him. How are you going to have a good relationship with the baby if you can't have one with the mom? That statement struck a chord not only because it is accurate, but also because it comes from him. It was the same Scrappy who would sit quietly. As Mama D pulled Erica and Bambi whenever she could, he is now lecturing about respect for one another and co-parenting. The hypocrisy was unacceptable to Shakira. Hearing that comment from Scrappy only made her already angry about the way everything had been handled, because he was attempting to play both sides in her eyes. While allowing his mother to get out of pocket, he pretended to be the mediator. It's a bit too late, but it seems like Scrappy finally received the memo. Furthermore, Shakira is not amenable to the unfair treatment. We are presently at the stage where the DNA test will finally take place. Both Shakira and Scrappy decided to follow through after all the confusion, anxiety, and buildup. Let's not pretend, however, that was a casual meeting. From the beginning, the atmosphere in that room was strained. Shakira made an effort to appear unconcerned, but it was clear that the issue was consuming her. Her eyes were far away, her responses were brief, and her tone was abrasive. It was about everything that had happened until this point, not just the test. Mama D's disparaging remarks, her separation from Scrappy, and her sense of being condemned for bringing the child into the world. Shakira had a lot on her shoulders as she entered the exam room. He had been talking big now. Scrappy. "I know that's my son," he was saying, and he insisted that he had been prepared to accept responsibility. However, the energy changed when it was time to actually swab and stake everything on it. All of a sudden, he felt uncertain. His nervousness was evident in his expression. As the technician described the procedure, they both sat there. It only requires 30 seconds on each cheek. However, those brief moments felt burdensome. You could tell Shakira's mind was racing, but she managed to keep it together. Scrappy continued to look about as if he wanted to be somewhere else. They had nothing but questions when the samples were sealed and the documents were signed. A few days will pass before the results are available. However, that waiting time, at that point, all of the feelings began to surface. The truth finally surfaced, and it was verified instantly. Everything fell apart right away, and Scrappy is not the father. Shakira fell silent. The silence was sufficient, even if she was stunned or unsure of what to say. Conversely, Scrappy didn't hold back. Suddenly, the man who had been striving to make things work and preaching responsibility lost it. He felt that he had been pulled into a situation that blew up in his face in front of everyone, and he felt played and ashamed. He was deeply hurt by the treachery. Not only did the baby not belong to him, it had to do with vulnerability, trust, and his sincere attempt to take charge. He is now doubting everything. He began pointing fingers, wondering who else Shakira had slept with and how it could have happened, and the reason he had to bear the burden for so long. The disappointment quickly gave way to rage. The fact that he was going through all of this in public only made it worse. Cameras, creators, drama in the family. The world now knows that it wasn't only between him and Shakira. Scrappy also felt vulnerable. This incident brought back all of his past problems with women, trust, and making his own decisions. And it was obvious. Scrappy had cracked, despite his best efforts to keep it together. Here's the thing, baby. Mama turmoil is nothing new to Scrappy. His public outburst over a paternity issue is not the first time. But it feels different with Shakira. People are now doubting her veracity, particularly in light of circulating rumors about her history. The discussion of her past's hazy boundaries is simply stoking the flames. Naturally, the internet has a lot to say. Some people feel sorry for Scrappy and accuse him of being a victim of poor choices and fate. He's being hauled by others who claim he ought to have realized better by now. One commenter said, "Scrappy. This time he made a sincere attempt to step up, but it backfired. That must be painful. At his age, he should have been more careful," said another. And beneath all of the online chatter, there's a more serious problem: Scrappy's interactions with the women in his life. It is. He's attempting to be the good guy one moment. Next, he's avoiding accountability and playing games. This trend is not brand new. Just his behavior with Erica, Bambi, and now Shakira. It demonstrates that Scrappy still has room for improvement as a man and as a father, because if he doesn't alter his behavior, the results will always be the same regardless of how many times he tries. He seems to be caught up in this chaotic loop, and it will simply continue until he breaks it. Because, let's face it, this is more than one test. It has to do with the pattern, and Scrappy will remain trapped in the loop unless he breaks it. What are your thoughts then? Is Scrappy his own greatest enemy, or is he simply unlucky? Remember to subscribe and share your ideas in the comments section. More drama, more truth, and more updates are on the horizon.